it's kind of like you kind of get what you pay for. Before I get started, I do want to put a disclaimer on this video. Everyone's needs are different, and so when it comes to whether you decide to use a doula or not, definitely do what's best for you. Everyone's situation is completely subjective to their own life, so just keep that in mind when I'm giving out this information. Okay, so I had 3 natural births that were unmedicated, and 2 of those, the first 2, were with the assistance of a doula. Now, if I were to say my first experience with my doula, she was amazing. And the process went like this. So we had to go to a session. There were a group of doulas, and we got to meet all of them. And then we decided, who do you like? Who do you jive with the most? And so that's how I picked the first doula. The second doula, we were having a little bit of financial issues. So this was a free doula option. And we weren't necessarily able to pick who we wanted, but they assigned us someone. And so we used that person. Now, the first experience I had, she was phenomenal. And I mean, she walked me through so many things, and I'll get into that in a little bit, but she walked me through so many things. She made my first birth experience a lot easier. The second one, it's kind of like you kind of get what you pay for. And so this time I didn't pay for her. So I kind of felt like I got my money's worth, unfortunately. So one of the first things that is a positive for having a doula is that you have an advocate in the delivery room. So for me, my birth plan was, I want to be unmedicated. I don't want to get an epidural. I want to labor on the ball. I want to be able to stand up and deliver, which I did, and squat my child out. I want to labor at home as long as possible, and all those things. So I had, a very detailed plan for my first child, and I knew how I wanted it to go. And so if it deviated, first things first is have a healthy baby, but that was my plan. And that biggest thing that a doula helped me with is they have the experience in being in that delivery room and walking you through, hey, this is probably how this would go, and you have these rights. And that is something that is very daunting for your first child. You don't know how any of this will go. So that person there to say, hey, can I do this or can I do that? And having that support was extremely helpful for me and my husband. It helped ease our mind in asking questions and knowing what we were able to do and what we were not able to do when it came to delivering my first child. So that was great. They also help you understand what your options are for pain relief, interventions, and they just have a wealth of knowledge that, you might not have if you've never had a child before. So that's the first thing. They're great advocates for you in delivery and when you're planning your delivery. Another pro is emotional support. So my village is very small. I have a relationship with my mother, but it's kind of, hit or miss sometimes. And, I don't have any sisters. And so I have friends, but when you're having a baby, you mainly want your partner, your main support person, my husband in my case, in the room with you. And so having an extra emotional support person in there that you feel comfortable with was definitely a plus of having a doula. My doula was there. They would offer encouragement. They gave me ice. They rubbed my back. They would help me, not be so fearful about the process, and like, oh, this is normal. You're strong. All the things that you need to know when you're having a baby from somebody that has done or seen this experience before. And so I would say I was very nervous, and my husband was nervous, but they definitely provided a lot of emotional comfort during the delivery process during my firstborn pregnancy. Now, my second, I did not get a chance to use my doula. I was induced, and that doula, I told them I was being induced, but they kind of never just showed up at the hospital. So I guess they're like, let me know if you need me. But my first doula, they were on it. They were there, every step of the way. As soon as I told them, hey, I'm going to labor, and they're like, okay, well, when you get checked in, I am on my way. And so they were there. I labored for 12 hours, and I had that person there. So that was awesome. Now, as far as physical comfort is concerned, when you're in labor, you have all kind of pains, back pain, other pains. I'm not going to go into that, but my doula, she helped me with a belly shaking activity that you'll be familiar with if you're pregnant, but they kind of lift the weight off of your back. They helped me with getting on a medicine ball and opening up your hips and doing the circles. And it's just, they have a wealth of knowledge in the birthing process that, you won't get that if it's just you and your husband. You've never done this before, and nurses don't do these things. Doctors don't do these things. They really help you with moving the labor transitions along. So that was one of my favorite things. Also, it helps with lowering your chances of having a C-section. So, that was a big win for me. One of the things that I was most terrified of for my second one being induced is that, I didn't want to end up having to get a C-section. But because of the experience I had with my first doula and teaching me how things progress along, and just because you have, Pitocin and any of the other medicines, I was kind of a little bit more knowledgeable of what to experience and how to progress my labor on. So that way, when I got induced, I knew, okay, I know how this is going to go. It does take a while. I shouldn't feel rushed. I shouldn't stress out. And it helped me to be able to continue on with another natural birth, that second go around and my third go around. So just to reiterate, the physical comfort during labor is they help you with stretches. They help you with movement and moving and progressing the delivery along. They help you with lowering your C-section rates, lower your chance of needing pain medication, higher satisfaction in your delivery. I think I covered everything. Yeah. Also, they give support to your partners. They give you personalized support to what your partner needs. Every partner that goes in that delivery room has a different personality, and they can kind of gauge what your partner is feeling like and help them, because your husband or your boyfriend or whoever, they get nervous too. And so they can help you and your partner stay calm. Don't be nervous. Don't panic. If things are going wrong or things are being alarmed, they can help ease your mind in the whole birthing process. So that's another bonus for having a doula. I was very stubborn in the delivery room. My doula told me that she would tell me things and I wouldn't do them because I didn't feel like getting up. But my doula would tell my husband, hey, tell her to do this. And I would listen to him, but I wouldn't listen to her. I don't know if that was because I just felt more comfortable listening to him, or maybe he used a stern voice, but she would tell him, hey, make her walk around the room or make her go get in the tub, because I would be like, I'm hurting so bad. I can't do this anymore. And this is just never gonna end. And I had double peak contractions. So a contraction goes up and then it goes down. Well, my contractions, all three births, they would go up and they would go up again and then they would go down. So I was in a bad place during my deliveries. So anyways, my doula would tell, him, hey, make sure she does this, or if you can encourage this will help her get along the way. And she would rub my back and she would calm him down saying, it's going to be okay. Yes, she's screaming, but it's just going to be all right. So that's another thing. It's not just about you. It actually helps the other person that's with you. And if you are by yourself and you don't have a support person, hey, that can be your support person too. But just know that they're there for your family and not just you as well. Okay, and lastly, postpartum. This one is one that's skirted over very often, but postpartum care is so important. my first doula, they came by the house afterwards to check on me. And full transparency, I was adjusting, you know, a little bit of postpartum depression, and I was in a lot of pain from some of the complications that I had with delivery. But that extra set of eyes on me to comfort me was very, very important. And so I appreciate her coming in and checking on me after the fact. And that's another role that they have. So, you know, you have your family coming in, and you have your husband, and you have the baby, but there's just another person that can say, hey, do you need any help with breastfeeding? Some are lactation specialists. You can have someone that say, oh, well, do you need help with some chores? It just depends on your doula, but they can offer postpartum support to you as well. Now, briefly, I wanted to touch on the price thing. I didn't mention it earlier in clarity. My first doula was $850, I believe, and they had we had a meeting before we gave birth. So we had one to just say, hey, this is what I want. This is my birth plan, ideally. Then they had another meetup where they came to my house just to see, you know, kind of what my setup was. Then we had a third meeting, which was at the delivery room. They were there the whole time. And then we had a fourth meeting where they came to my house again as a postpartum visit. So I think that $850 was well spent on her part. I loved her. I would have used her again if she hadn't moved to another state. But and also my second time, it was a little bit of a financial challenge. We were in limbo. So for my second birth, we looked at a free option. But like I said, I kind of got my money's worth with her. So yes, I was induced, and it didn't really go like how I did the first time, where I needed her as much. But even still, I could tell that the level of care wasn't as intense as it was. So I think if you're going to get a doula, make sure that you interview and you find somebody that's a good fit for you and what you need. And more than likely, the paid option will probably be a little bit better for you, but that just depends too. Just depends on the person and your area and the availability of doulas. All right, so I think that concludes everything I needed to share with you on my doula experience. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I would love to answer any questions that you may have. Also, I will continue on my journey of giving motherhood tips on my channel, so please follow, like if you are enjoying. And thank you for watching my video. See you next time.